Yo, what up, friends? Did you watch it? It was the best, one of the best. It was definitely the best game seven we've seen in a while, probably since the Cubs won in 2017. But it was one of the best World Series of all time. The baseball was phenomenal. It was so exciting. All the plays being made, all the twists, all the turns, and we could get nothing better than the two greatest words in sports, a game seven. That's what it came down to. And lo and behold, as you see it on the screen, yes, the most hated, the new evil empire, the Los Angeles Dodgers are your 2025 Major League Baseball world champions. I am not going to say congrats because as a Mets fan, we are rivals, but it is a news show, and I must say that they did win a awesome series. I mean, I'm a baseball purist and a fan at heart first, and this was just amazing to watch. I really wish, and like many, rooting for Toronto to get the victory there. As you can see on the screen, Dodgers just won last year as well, so now they are back-to-back champions. And wow, what a game seven it was. We talked about the twists and turns that we had throughout the series. Nothing less there in game seven. And so let's get into it. What did it start with, man? It was just Max Scherzer on the hill, the Warrior God, 41 years old, starting a game seven for the Blue Jays, going up against the baseball unicorn, Shohei Ohtani, who was going there as the Dodgers starting pitcher. And it was, again, just an amazing game. I can't even go through all the twists and turns that happened throughout the whole game because we'd be here all night, just like the 11th inning game it was, even though it wasn't as long as that game three, right? We know that game three went 18 innings. That was a marathon. But this one went 11 innings, Dodgers winning 5-4. And yeah, let's just skip to the end of the game. Top of the ninth inning, Miguel Rojas, 2 outs from defeat. The Dodgers' number 9 hitter hits a game-tying solo home run. Toronto thought they had the victory. Did not happen. Then what happens? In the bottom of the ninth inning, Toronto loads the bases. Ducks on a pond, baby. All three of them just dotting the infield with runners that may score the world championship winning run, but no, they did not. There was the closest play ever at the plate. Isaiah Kiner Falefa getting thrown out at the plate. It was crazy. It was literally, let me give you the pro facts on this. Shout out for the research here done by The Athletic. But anyways, in the ninth inning, once they had the bases loaded, Dalton Varsho comes up with 1 out, grounds out, right? Hit a grounder. Will Smith is the catcher for the Dodgers, right? So Will Smith, as the catcher for the Dodgers, is going to field the ball that's coming in. Isaiah Kiner Falefa is running from third base. Come to find out, the coaches told him, and this has been apparently the philosophy for the Toronto Blue Jays all year long, but they hold close to third base so that they don't get doubled off on a liner to the infield, which, granted, game 6, they did get doubled off on a throw from left field. I believe it was Kike Hernandez. So it was good for them to sound that way, act that way in the moment. If you're asking me, I don't know, man. You need to take a little bit more of the lead, and the stats call that out. So listen to this. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, his lead distances, right, were among the lowest in the entire World Series. And so what does that mean, lead distances? So when you're on a base as a base runner in baseball, you take what is called a primary lead, which is your first step off the bag, couple steps off the bag, and you take a secondary lead, which is going to be a little bit more off the bag, depending on where infielders are, depending on where the defensive positions are, or the defenders are positioned at, rather. That will really depend on where your lead is going to go. Also on the pitcher, does he have a good pickoff move? Is the catcher good at holding runners on base? Is the first baseman holding the runner, or third baseman holding the runner to the base? In this case, the third baseman, right? So again, this is what the Blue Jays have been doing all year long. They say, hey, hold close to the bag so we don't get doubled off. You getting too big of a lead. The primary lead that he took was the primary and secondary leads that he took. Again, I mentioned they were lowest, some of the lowest in the entire World Series, right? 357th out of 381 for primary leads at 7.8 feet. And then his secondary lead was 8.9, so another 1.1 inches. Because remember, the secondary lead is never as big as the primary lead, because you're just taking a couple extra steps to try to get a little more lead if you have the leeway to do so. That was 366th out of 376. So again, very bottom of it. Now, his sprint speed, how fast he was from third to home, 28.2 feet per second, which was 61st out of 689 of those same plays in the World Series. So he's running very fast, but taking a very short lead compared to every other play throughout the World Series. That came back to bite them, as his foot, literally, his foot came down like this, and the catcher's foot had come up off the bag, and the catcher's foot, Will Smith, got it back down an eighth of a second before Isaiah Kiner-Falefa got his foot down on home plate, and he was called out, and he slid. Or before his foot touched the plate, because he slid. He didn't run through home plate. A lot of consternation going around over whether he should have maybe ran through home plate instead of sliding. And if he would have gotten there quickly, I am, like you would do at first base, I am inclined to agree with that theory in this case. But we will never know. All we know is he got thrown out at home by the smallest of margins. It was crazy. And so the analysts, again, in the statistics, say that if he would have just taken one extra foot of lead, that he probably would have scored. So what else happened? I told you about the Miguel Rojas home run. You got Yamamoto just coming off being signed to a 12-year, $325 million contract. He was the prize of the offseason when it came to starting pitching. Quickly proved his worth, winning the World Series MVP in the process through a complete game. And then came back, pitched again in Game 6, and then finished off Game 7. Amazing performance. Pitchers just don't do this anymore. We haven't seen anything like this in a long time. And so salute to him. He very well deserved that World Series MVP for sure. LA did not blow it at the end this time. If you ask me, I know baseball, game of inches. Toronto had a lot of chances. To close this series out between Game 6 and Game 7, and they did not do so. And one of those pivotal moments was getting thrown off. I mentioned this earlier, when they got thrown off, double play at second base, when the guy thought that the ball wasn't going to be catched, and he ran off the base, and they got him at second before he could get back. There is zero excuse for you to be thrown out at that venture. That is the time when you don't take that extra lead. Because, first of all, you're at second, so it's a lot different. And also, you have more of a gauge to be able to see if the out. Now, granted, it was coming down quick. It didn't look like he was necessarily going to make the catch, but you just cannot. And especially the last out of the game. You just cannot. Not the last out of the game. Not the last out of the game. Not with 2 outs. You just cannot. That is completely and utterly unacceptable. I'm not going to call the man by his name because he already feels bad enough. But I'm just going to call out the error. And that was critical and cost, in my eyes, Toronto Blue Jays this World Series. Now, was it the only thing? No. As we know in sports, there's a lot of things that go into the conclusions of these games. I mean, Hoffman, the reliever for the Blue Jays, is blaming himself for giving up the home run to Will Smith, which ended it all. Will Smith, again, walk-off hero as he was last year for the Dodgers in multiple games. Just coming through in the clutch. Mr. Clutch is what they should call him. Coming through with a game winner in the 11th inning. Toronto, the Rogers Center just went silent in disbelief as their Blue Jays, again, in my eyes, had multiple chances and should have closed out the series in Game 6 and Game 7 and did not, and let the Dodgers, again, in my eyes, win this series when maybe they should not have. Now, I'm not going to say better team or not better team because they're both very, very good teams. And actually, if I had to venture, I would say the Dodgers are the better team. They just didn't perform as well within the World Series. But neither here nor there because they won. And they are now back-to-back champions. By the way, Game 7 averaged nearly 26 million viewers, most viewership for any World Series game since that aforementioned Chicago Cubs Game 7 victory in 2017 over the Indians. So what an amazing series. I love baseball, and this was just a testament to how beautiful the game can truly be.
Subscribe on YouTube at Ball and Buds